Okay, sorry for the late start, folks. I'm not feeling so well today, so we'll go as far as we can. And I hope you'll excuse me if we have to cut the lecture short. Facing the sort of middle stages of a cold or the flu here, and there's some risk that I may have to bow out. So within today's lecture, we're going to be continuing on the issue of programming style. This is one of the most important sort of practical issues that confronts one when one's putting together code. We're going to be using some future lectures to talk about bigger principal issues. But today's lecture, I'm going to be sort of finishing up a number of smaller tips and idioms that you want to know about because they're part of the repertoire of professional programmers, professional software developers. And if you're not aware of them, you'll be contributing code, which is much more difficult to understand, modify, extend, etc. So we're going to be, we've talked in the past few lectures about some issues of bad smells that confront code, and some key elements of defensive programming, noting that we'll be discussing techniques from offensive programming in future lectures. We had finished the last lecture with a bit of discussion on the issue of indentation. I had noted that while indentation conventions are enforced by many newer programming languages. Give me an example. Yeah, Python being perhaps the most popular one, but by no means the only. They are not enforced, but absolutely essential to code written in many other types of programming languages. Namely those in the C language family. They are viewed as absolutely key to sort of effective communication with code. So we had seen an example here last time which involved a for loop with somewhat execrable conventions for in terms of indentation as well as other things. So can anyone suggest ways in which the current code fragment might be improved? I'm sorry? Okay, so that's a good comment. What is this code actually accomplishing? Okay, so with the zero character, that's an encoding of the zero character. It's the same character that finishes strings. That's good. Okay. And then we assign to some pointer a similar character, and then we return a new line. So what are some ways in which this might be improved? One was put some enters each semicolon, something along these lines. This is something which emphasizes that the for loop is in fact empty. The body of the for loop, I should say, is empty. Is work getting done within that for loop? Where is it getting done? It's up here. It's in the front. So it's in the update stack. And actually, two things are being changed there. What are the two things? Good. And the second thing?
Each value of the field array.
Exactly. Each value of the field array is being updated with this zero character. So this code has some additional clarity to it, but it would still be considered non-standard. Why? Yeah. There's too many things going on inside this sort of for expression, set of expressions up here inside the parentheses. There's just too many things going on at once. We're updating several things at once, and by convention, we try to do a minimal amount of work there, and specifically if that work focuses on what? What sort of things are done within this area of a for statement in this final field? We're typically updating what? Yeah, it's the iteration variable. It's the variable that is used to keep track of each successive element, either as an integer, as here, or as or potentially a pointer within a list, or some other element from a collection. So we're changing too many things here, and this leads to sort of cognitive overhead. To look at this, you've got to spend more time parsing it than the glance that would be required if this were more standard. So to unpack that, what could we do? Anyone? How could we simplify that task so it's not as much chance that this would be confusing to someone? Where else can things get updated within a for statement commonly? In the body of the for, yeah. So here we go. So this is a much more standard idiomatic sort of notation. So here we have some initialization. N goes from 0 to just 1 less than 100. 100 is the upper limit that it never reaches. And in each successive iteration, and it's incremented. This is familiar. It's the same variable along each line. And therefore, it makes it really easy to glance at and understand. This is where that extra work gets done with initializing. Can you do it in that way? Absolutely. It's just asking for trouble. It's asking for oversight, misunderstanding, and consuming people's time unnecessarily. Okay? So that's a case of where indentation is off. As well, we've sort of departed from an idiomatic style.